local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. As always, thank you for joining us. We are live streaming here every weekday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, live from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We are on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our app, so lots of places to find the show and to watch those segments afterward. I always recommend this at the start of every show. You should download that Fox 12 Oregon app. Great way to watch all of the content that we have here at the station, and of course, all the segments that we do here for Fox 12 Now. Today, we are talking about a really interesting partnership going on between the U.S. Forest Service and Northwest tribes. It's a co-stewardship program for a number of different places throughout the Northwest. We're going to talk about those, and we're going to talk about some of those specifically in Oregon. To do so, joining us right now from the U.S. Forest Service, we have Tribal Relations Specialist Kristi Tapio-Harper. And Kristi, thanks for being here today to talk about this and this really interesting program that's going on with this co-stewardship program. I think to start off, would you mind just telling us just a little bit about yourself and maybe how you came to be a part of this program?
Absolutely, thank you. Kristi Tapio-Harper, I'm an enrolled member of the Central Council of Tlingit and Haida Tribes of Alaska. I'm also Oglala Lakota Sioux from South Dakota. And how I became involved with this work, I'm the Regional Tribal Relations Specialist for the Pacific Northwest region in Region 6. And it's just part of my work day to day. It's to help facilitate partnerships between the tribes and the Forest Service.
And such an important thing to do, too, to find that co-management on how to balance all of that. And I think maybe when it comes to this particular program, could you give us a little bit of the history of this and how this came about, that these partnerships and co-stewardship plans started?
Sure, absolutely. As the federal government and the U.S. Forest Service, we have a trust responsibility to work with federal recognized tribes. So this partnership has been kind of developing over the years, decades, and just kind of culminating into bigger and better things. So we've come a long way, and we have a long way to go. So the Tribal Forest Protection Act is just one of those mechanisms. As you can see on the tribal story map, we have different opportunities to work with tribes.
Yeah, and we're taking a look here. This is just for the Northwest section there, and even the top of Washington got cut off a little bit here, but these are some of the different places and locations where these things are happening. And I think to give everybody a little more context, so when we talk about co-stewardship and we talk about management with the U.S. Forest Service and tribal lands, can you give us a little more specifics as far as what that actually means and what that would look like?
Sure, absolutely. Co-stewardship with the U.S. Forest Service and tribes, it's really coming to the table and having that equity and inclusion with federally recognized tribes and decision-making processes. In this case, having these projects working together both at the staff level within the Forest Service and the staff level within the tribe. So it's identifying the priorities both at the Forest Service and the tribe and coming together and working towards these projects, the completion of them.
Do you find, I mean, since you're kind of balancing both worlds there, kind of in the middle and being the tribal relations specialist, but also working with the U.S. Forest Service, do you find there's a lot of cohesion and understanding as far as what those plans are, or does that take a lot of negotiation to figure out exactly how these lands should be managed?
Absolutely, good question. We have, living in both worlds. I kind of identify this as my world because my ancestors have fought for so long to get to this point where we have tribal members within the Forest Service and able to communicate some of those priorities to the Forest Service leadership, to Forest Service staff. So yeah, it's come a long way. We still have a long way to go, but these projects, however big or small they are, they're great.
And let's talk about some of those projects specifically. We have that map here. I'll just bring that back up again just in case I took that away too quick for people to get a look at it. But these are, some of the different locations, obviously several there in Washington. You've got a couple over there towards the Blue Mountains, and then a couple down in the Willamette Valley and even Southern Oregon. And, looking at these to give somebody an idea, I did pull one here. This is, I believe, outside of Sweet Home. And I was wondering if maybe you could walk through, I've got just a couple of images here, but to walk through, what that is and what this land is like that you're managing there.
Sure, I'll just kind of go through maybe a little snippet of this whole process, how we got to this project you see on the screen. At first it starts with these staff-to-staff interactions. The fire ecologists from both the Forest Service and the tribe coming to the table, identifying, hey, we we want to preserve this meadow area. Cultural burning is part of that. And the Forest Service internally says, hey, we can do that. So then they identify this project, and then they look for funding. And in this case, I believe we were able to form an agreement and kind of do some cultural burning on that meadow in order to promote that camas root.
That's great, and it works for both sides, and something that, obviously for the tribal side, you said some cultural burning, and so something that would have been traditionally done, I would imagine.
Absolutely, as tribal people, we've lived on these lands for time immemorial, and we never just kind of sat back and just saw the natural world take shape. We had influence in part of that,
and that's so important that's being expressed and that's being listened to by the U.S. Forest Service and being incorporated into that. I mean, I love this. So when you look at this particular, just using this for example, so outside of Sweet Home there's the camas field. When we're talking about the size in general of these locations, is there a general amount of acreage that we're talking about, or land area, just to kind of get a mental picture of it?
Oh yeah, some projects can be as small as maybe 2 acres. Some can be as large as 20,000 acres. It just really depends on the project, and really depends on what priorities can kind of come together between the Forest Service and the tribe.
And what goes into deciding where these areas and where these stewardship co-management plans are going to happen?
Could you repeat that question?
Oh, sorry. What goes into deciding where these co-stewardship plans are going to happen, and which particular plots of land are going to be managed in this way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sometimes, there might be a project the Forest Service says, hey, we kind of know what the tribe's priority is, and we bring that program of work to the tribe, and they say, yeah, we can do that. We can help. Other times it's the tribe coming to us saying, hey, you've kind of left this meadow uncared for a while. Let's try to figure something out. So it takes a variety of ways of communication, just coming to the table and speaking.
I love the fact that it sounds like there is some fairly open communication going on, though, between the two. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, very accurate. I mean, you can't define a priority or understand the tribe's priorities without communication, and that takes time, trust, and yeah.
What are some of the biggest obstacles to overcome in continuing this program and maybe expanding it to others?
I think the biggest obstacle is forming trust. It's maintaining that trust, because once you have the trust, you can have some of those difficult conversations. Otherwise, both the tribe and the Forest Service, we do have a lot of internal turnover. That's just natural. So just having that foundation of trust is where you're going to continue that communication, continue those priorities, and continue these projects.
I would imagine, yeah, that solid communication and organizational structure, as far as institutional learning on both sides. If you're having a lot of turnover, that somebody else can step in and still have that connection, even if it's somebody new on the other side.
Absolutely.
And for you, when you look at this, what is it that when you go into work and you're working on these projects and helping bring these things to life and helping to make all of these co-stewardship plans happen, what is it that how do you feel going about doing that and making these things actually come to life and finding these connections?
Oh, that's probably the best part of my job is highlighting these projects, no matter how big or how small they are, because it represents a time and space of, if you start off with a small project, you're building towards something bigger. And if you have like a successful project that's huge, you can share that with the world and say, hey, this is something that we can do, we can work towards.
And one of the things too that is with this is there's the new interactive map that's out that people can go take a look at. And can you just briefly describe that map and how it is that people can engage with learning more about these partnerships?
Absolutely. The goal of the tribal story map is to just do just that. Engage folks, have a place they can, both from the tribe and within the Forest Service, have a place to go to see what has been done and what can be done, no matter how big or how small. So hopefully it is intended to be kind of updated regularly, so we can update it with more and more tribal interactions throughout the years.
And I think it's really interesting too, to just be able to have that there for people to go take a look at too. And I'll see if I can get that pulled up. But education seems to be one of the most important things when it comes to this. And in addition to this, what are some other ways that people can educate themselves about some of the issues and about some of the things that are happening?
Just for tribal issues, tribal priorities, a lot of the tribes nowadays do have updated websites. And internally with the Forest Service, you want to learn more about what the Forest Service is doing outside of this. Our national webpage, Office of Tribal Relations, also has a lot of information. So there is a lot of information out there.
And a lot of places where people can go. And I apologize, everybody. I was going to get that website pulled up, but we'll make sure and have a link there to that so that everybody can have that and go take a look at what's going on when we talk about this site. So very, very interesting there to be able to see that. And of course, now I just said that, and there it is right there. So just to give an idea here. So there is just taking a look at the website. So some really a lot of information on here just about tribal relations, about the maps, about some of the action plan and some of the different things that you've got going. So I encourage everybody to take a look at this and go there and check all of this out to see it, because there are so many different projects that are going on there as well. And when you look to the future of this, where do you think that this kind of roadmap can go for the future of tribal relations with the U.S. Forest Service?
Well, I really hope, like I said, it serves as like a reference piece for both tribal tribes and the Forest Service employees to, like, if they're coming into a new leadership role, they could say, oh, hey, let's see what's been done. Let's see what's been done in the region. See if we can do something like that on their unit.
Does it make you optimistic for the future of these relations?
Oh, absolutely. Like I mentioned before, I'm kind of, well, maybe I didn't, but I'm 20 plus years into the federal career as a tribal person. So to see how far we've come in this short time, I'm just, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Opportunities are endless. Yeah.
That's great. Well, everybody can go there and take a look at some of these different management plans and just understand how that goes. I love the map. I love the thing that you've created there for this. So really educational and informative for everyone. And anything else that you think is important for people to know about this program in general?
I'd like to encourage that whatever idea a tribe has or a Forest Service employee has working with tribes, the opportunities are endless. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to try it.
Kristi, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here to talk about this and this program. Thank you for all of your hard work and that many years, working on this and working within the federal government and making these things come to life, helping that to happen. It's really fantastic. So thanks for joining us here today on Fox 12 Now.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You bet. And for everybody watching too, again, this is Fox 12 Now. So we are live here every weekday and we cover a broad range of topics, sometimes learning and educating ourselves about things like this, these partnerships, but then also covering all kinds of other topics as well. So thank you for joining us. We do live stream, so we're on all of those different platforms, but you can watch all of our segments afterward on them all as well. So Facebook, YouTube, but the website and the apps, those are probably the best places to go. Coming up at 1:30 p.m., we're going to switch gears. So we're going to be talking to Oregon State Representative Kevin Mannix, and he is one of the people who co-sponsored a cross-party bill to update Oregon's anti-stalking law. So we're going to talk about those updates. It hadn't been updated since 1995. Clearly, a lot's changed since then. So we're going to talk about how important those updates are, what you should know about that, and how you can protect yourself if you need to enact something from that law. So that's coming up at 1:30 p.m. So just join me right back here on whatever platform you're watching on. I will be here. If you're watching sometime in the future, well, maybe you can go watch it right now. But otherwise, I'll be back in about, check my clock, about 15 minutes or so. So join us right back here. And